I know you didn't think about this when you just started to have kids. I know you didn't think about them driving for the first time. I know you didn't think about them having their own car. I know you probably didn't think about them always taking money out of your pocket. And I'm pretty sure you didn't understand or wonder about them driving on the freeway at 70 miles an hour past all the other cars that weigh 5,000 plus more pounds than probably their car. So before we go ahead and get into this topic, make sure you go ahead and hit that notification bell. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe so you can get all the latest updates of all the videos that we're going to upload. Also, make sure you check out some of our other videos because, they're dope too. Now let's go ahead and get into the topic. Now listen, when my son started driving, or when we did the attempted driving, don't get me wrong, I wanted him to drive. And this is probably something that I didn't even think about when I decided to have kids, is the driving aspect. The growing out into the real world aspect. Knowing that they're going to deal with, for lack of better words, assholes in the world. Asshole drivers. Asshole bosses and friends and all the other great stuff and all the things that we went through as kids ourselves. Now, I want you to take a trip down memory lane and think about how it was when you first started to drive. Maybe you had an easy route. Maybe you had a hard route. Maybe you waited till you was 18 to get your license and go out there and drive. For one, I can tell you this. When I went out there and started driving, I had the graduated driving series that I had to go through. Now, in Michigan, they have this little graduated program where you go through a segment 1 and segment 2, and then you can end up getting your license. It takes about 3 years to do it, and you can start at 14 and a half. Now, then for me, I was really impatient with getting out and going out into the world and driving. I wanted to go see my friends. I wanted to go to the parties. I just wanted to hang out. I wanted to be outside of the house. My son's the complete opposite. He wants me to drive for him, and he wants to stay here. So, I have devised a few ideas and some tips on preparing yourself for these drives, so to speak. If they want to drive. They may want to drive, they may not want to drive. But however the case is, they want to Uber all their life. That's fine too, because having a car is extremely expensive. Now, for my son, having a car is definitely expensive because it will be on my insurance. My insurance will skyrocket if he gets on there and he gets a license. So we kind of been prolonging his license for a minute. So he doesn't know I've been prolonging it, but we've kind of been prolonging his license, and plus he hasn't really been wanting to drive. That's been the other thing that goes along with it. He hasn't really been wanting to drive. So I kind of feel like his schedule and my schedule are starting to conflict. So here's the thing that I have for you. Now, if your state, city, or whatever have the graduated program, I would say put your kids in the graduated program. The reason why I like the graduated program is because it introduces them to the fundamentals of driving a car, and it's less risk on yourself. Now, if you want to go out there and take the risk and put your kid behind the car so they can learn how to drive, that's fine. I got a friend right now. They're teaching their child how to drive at 12 years old. That's about the same time I learned how to drive. There's nothing wrong with that if you can do it in the parking lot. You can do it in an open field. You can do it anywhere where there's no other cars and you can understand the basics and the dynamics of driving a car. The problem comes in is that when you live in a city, you don't really have that many options of driving areas. So you're kind of stuck with driving along with other cars, and they're not the most understanding people when it comes to driving cars. I should know. Now, you can slap student driver on the back of your car and that will give you some leniency, but some of these drivers out here, they're assholes, for lack of better words. But let's go ahead and finish the graduated driver. Now, the graduated driver, it starts off with segment 1. Now, this is what we have in Michigan. I don't know if they have it in other states, but we have it in Michigan. And that first segment kid pretty much gives them the idea and the mechanics of driving, and they go on the road a few times. Now, the great thing I like about their cars, they have brakes on their side of the car. On the passenger side, there's a brake. So at any point in time, They start cutting up or doing something they supposed to do. It got student driver all around the car, and it got the brake. I love the little brake. I didn't like it so much when I was driving, because we were driving in Cavaliers, but we had like 95 Cavaliers when I was doing it. But the driving piece is essential. So when I first took the segment, it was offered free through the school, free through my high school, but now it's not offered free anymore, so you gotta pay for it. That's like my first suggestion. Second suggestion is going through the segment. Not next suggestion, but the other part of the graduated program is that there is the segment 2. So then you go through the segment 2, and then that allows them to be able to drive by themselves as long as they drive by themselves within the parameters of school and work. So as long as they're working and they're going to school, they can drive within between the parameters. So I believe it's like from like 7 in the morning to like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night that they're able to drive. And they can drive, I think, up to like midnight if they're like going from work. So they can like only go like A to B. Okay, they can't go to C or anything. And I know kids will try. I'm about to stop by the store and I'm about to do this. That's fine. Just bring your little narrow butt home. I always tell my son, like, trouble happens when you're somewhere where you're not supposed to be. If it's not in your planned trip for the day, normally trouble tends to happen. And so far, I haven't been wrong. I follow the same rules. If it's not in my pre-planned trip, then I try to be very mindful of my driving activities, because things happen, and you just gotta be mindful about the places that you go, because people drive crazy, super crazy. So that's the first thing. Put them in a graduated program. Now the other part is the easy part. The easy part is just letting them wait till they're 18. Now the reason why I say let them wait till they're 18 is because now, post-pandemic, insurance is very expensive. I'm not really sure why. I think they kind of mad because they gave us $400 and now they're coming back to get it. Or maybe it's a lot more uninsured drivers on the road. I really don't know. I know that Michigan put this new law in place so far as insurance, where you have health care, then it kind of takes a little bit of the price off of your current insurance, so that they don't have to cover the health portion of it. So you can go with or without it. I like my unlimited plan. With all the insurance, I pay more, but I feel like I have that added benefit of, if I was end up in a 5 or 10 car pileup and it just so happens to be my fault, I got all the monies and insurance deductibles and quotes and all that great stuff that's gonna fix all that. It ain't gonna fix it. It ain't gonna fix for shit. But what it's gonna do is it is gonna protect me. So that's kind of how my thinking is. I don't believe I'm gonna be in that kind of accident, but insurances, I'm not gonna say it's a fraud. No, it's not a fraud. It's a game, because you can be the best driver and you're still gonna spend a lot of money. You can be the best driver and not have any accidents and still pay a boatload for it. I should go start an insurance company. I just had an idea. I should start an insurance company. Let me not get off track. Now, so you have the graduated program, and then you have the ability to allow your child to wait till they're 18 for them to get their license. And sometimes with the new generation, they may wait till they're 18 before they go ahead and get their license. My thing is go ahead and get your license. It's not bad. Like when I got my license, I was 17 when I got my first license. Now I have never crashed a car to the point where it was totaled. Have I crashed a car? Yes. But I didn't crash it to the point where it was totaled. And that's a completely different story. I crashed my mom's car too, but that was not my fault. Partially not my fault. That's how I came up with my saying about don't be in places where you're not supposed to be, because that's how I ended up in a car accident, because I was not supposed to be over there. I was just kind of taking my homeboy home from work, end up turning down the street, somebody turned and hit the side of the car. It was such a headache. I still owe my mom for that. I should take a collection for that just to pay her back. Like, Mom, sorry, that was about 20 years ago. Yeah. But how the case is, back to your kids. So, like I said, you had a graduated program. You have, moving away to the 18. Now, the other side to that is if you don't want to drive or you don't want to show them how to drive, because me showing my son how to drive is like a heart attack waiting to happen. Now, I tried to show my brother how to drive. I told him I don't have a heart for that. Like, I really don't. Like, because I have no control over what's happening on the driver's side of the car. So, whatever happens over there, I just have to accept it. I can reach for the wheel, but I feel like if there's other cars in the way, fate is going to have to take the wheel at that point, because whatever happens, car accident, no car accident, I'm just going to have to just succumb to all of it. Like, I'm going to be in the passenger side just cooling, like, we about to crash. Like, I can see it happening. I don't know what I did to be in this situation, but we are here. I just don't want to. I'm going to just start thinking about my life like, yep, I remember when I did that. I remember when I did that. And then once it's over, I'm going to be like, woo. Either we missed the car or we didn't. But how the case is, that is a playing field that I don't want to be in, to be quite honest. I don't want to show nobody how to drive. I couldn't be that teacher. I couldn't be a driving instructor. For the driving instructors out there, I applaud you, because I don't have the nerve for it at all. I'm kind of happy that we have automated cars that drive for you, because I question some of the drivers that are out here, because some of them, they don't drive with any sense. And then the new drivers coming in, oh man, I mean, it's just a nerve of it all. But I digress. I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. All right, now back to the things. Okay, so you can give them private driver's lessons. Although private driver's lessons are expensive, it will give them the needed one-on-one time that they can have after they do their class, graduated class. If they do the graduated class, they can have a private lessons period with it, so they can get the extra training in. Or if you want to go out there and train them, that's fine too. I'm not discriminating against anybody that don't want to do it, like, to be honest with you. But I just know I can't. So so yes. So you can go ahead and you can have the private lessons. I think the private lessons are actually good because, somebody comes and they take them in a car and the student or the child will be like very calm, because I know my son gets real nervous when I'm in a car. And I remember when I was a kid, I was nervous, but my mom was showing me how to drive. Well, actually, she didn't show me how to drive. Like, my stepdad showed me how to drive, and then my dad also showed me how to drive too. But they was nervous while they was in the passenger seat, and I was nervous because they was in the driver, and I was in the driver's seat. Like, I was nervous because I didn't want to crash the car, and then they didn't make me feel any better because they didn't really provide a lot of instructions, like pulling up to the stop sign. And they're like, well, you see the stop sign? I'm like, yeah, I do see the stop sign, but I don't really know what it means. I know it says stop, but I don't know what it means. Like, do I stop here? Do I stop on the other side? Do I stop like 10 feet back? I don't know. Like, it really couldn't piece it all together right then and there. But that's what the class is for. So if you put them in the personal driving class, I think that will actually work out better for them than to just not let them drive at all. And then when they do get their first car, don't get them a car that have a car note. I know we want our kids to have like the best and flyest car and everything. They're gonna crash it. I'm not even gonna hold you up. I'm not even about to go through the whole rigmarole. They're gonna crash that motherfucker. Like, I said, right? I know, cussing. They're gonna crash it, okay? And they're gonna crash it hard. Now, like I told you, I have not crashed a car, totaled a car. I've crashed cars, but I've never totaled a car. I've had people crash my car for me and totaled it, but never have I crashed or totaled a car. I have tickets. Had tickets. I don't have tickets now. I had tickets. But I say all that to say that expect these things to happen. Expect them to get tickets. Expect them to drive recklessly. Expect them to have distractions on the road, because when we were younger, or when I was younger, I don't know how old you are, but when I was younger, there wasn't a lot of distractions on the road. I mean, the most distraction I had is seeing a dog running down the street or running across the street, cat running across the street, or I just seen some beautiful young lady walking down the street and I had to do a U-turn. That's about the most distraction that I've had. But now, these kids out here got all kind of distractions. I mean, they got their cell phones, the music, LED everything. You know, got the mood lights inside the car. And if the mood lights ain't inside the car, you got all these screens in here. You got to figure out what you're doing. That's a lot of distractions. I can't say that I would survive all those distractions. I get distracted now inside my car, and my car is analog. I'm looking at the gauges, trying to make sure the gauges ain't overheating. I drive like a little hoopty, okay? I drive my little hoopty and stuff. I had my little hoopty for about 10 years now? 2014. So yeah, I had it for like 10 years now, so it's a hoopty now. It's been no 10 years, it's a hoopty. Alright. So when we talking about those vehicles, we talking about distractions. You know, especially when they get their friends in a car and their friends, you know, think they a great driver, so you know, it's the conversation, it's the music, it's the oh look at that and everything. Like when I was teaching my son how to drive. Tried to teach my son how to drive, you know, between every heartache and miss heart pump that I was going through when I was in the passenger seat. You know, he would turn the car, like he would put the blinker on and he would make a wide turn. And if we were on a freeway and we was kind of merging over or we was changing lanes, he would change lanes like while he was looking back at the traffic. Like his whole arm, like his arms would drift when he would go like that. The whole car started drifting. I'm looking like, oh, we about to die. Like, oh Lord, we about to die. I couldn't do it no more. I had to call it quits. I had to. I finally let him drive by himself. He went to go get pizza, so that was easy. That was like a straight drive up the street. But let's just recap for a second, okay? So, here's my tips for driving or introducing your child to driving. Okay, you have the graduated classes, if they have graduated classes. If your state or city doesn't have graduated classes, then I would definitely say the private lessons or the driving schools or whatever. I would definitely say the private lessons. The private lessons are actually beneficial. I like the private lessons because they get that one-on-one, and you ain't damaging your car. You ain't putting your car up in a risk area. Yeah, I said it, in a risk area. Because when you have them drive your car, you put them in a risk area. And then you can have them wait till they're 18. Now, any one of these will be good, depending on what your situation is. Any one of these are good. My only concern is that once they get the license, the insurance is going to increase. And once the insurance increases, that's when you kind of start looking at them hitting your pockets. Now, from one of my friends, one of my family members, they basically told me that their insurance had kicked up like $700 when their son got added on there. And the insurance company just added them on. He ain't call, he ain't write, he ain't send an email, he ain't even call and get a quote to see if the little person was being put on there. But because their address was the same address as theirs, then it was like, oh, well, we about to just, as soon as he got his license, we just about to just take it up. That's not what we doing over here, okay? I'm gonna wait till my son turn 18. This is my strategy, okay, for fighting this increase on insurances. I'm gonna wait till my son turns 18. When he turns 18, regardless of whether he have his license or not, we're going to get a car, okay? I don't care where we get this car from. We can get it from the junkyard, rebuild it. We can get it from the auction. We can get it from a neighbor. We can get it from the suburbs. We can get it from wherever. We gonna have it towed to the house. We gonna put it in his name. We ain't gonna put insurance on it. Okay? Now I know all that's gonna be impossible without him having his license. So we just gonna put it in my name and we just gonna call it that. But I can tell you this right now. I'm not putting him on my insurance. If you feel like you should that I should put my son on my insurance, I want you to comment. Because I'm not putting him on my insurance. I would be hard pressed to put them on my insurance. I'm not putting them on there because it's going to increase. I don't want to pay for that bill. I do not. I'm even considering emancipating him. Make him his own adult real quick. Make him adult before he turn 18. Like, listen here, son. You too expensive. Okay, you 17. You coming out of high school. Like when I was 17, I had my own car. I had 2 jobs. Going to school. Because I did co-op and I did another job. 2 jobs going to school. And I had to pay for my own insurance. You got it super good. I'm already letting you live for free. You ain't even got to pay a bill. We gonna have this conversation. We ain't got to pay a bill. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and pay for your own insurance because you can't be on my insurance. Now, for the parents out there that is willing to do it, I commend you. I congratulate you. But for those of us that can't do it, that don't want to do it, you can live here. You just got to pay for your own insurance. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think if you live here, you should pay for your own insurance. Yep, I had to pay for mine. And I live with my mom. She didn't let me. Well, I was in 11th grade though, so that's different. My son actually graduating at 17. More power to him. So yeah. So those are my strategies. Those are my tips and my strategies for this introduction. Because if you are a parent that wants to put your kid on your insurance and give them, a brand new car with a car note to go and crash, I want to hear your reasons. I want you to comment because I want to understand. Like, why would you put them on your insurance? Is it because they don't make enough money? Insurance is high. Okay, I can understand that. I can understand that. But at the same time, I feel like responsibility kicks in at some point in time. Responsibility kick in somewhere. Like, they don't need to have their desired car. Like, my son wants a Prius. I showed him a Prius. And he was like, man, that's a cool car, Dad. And I was like, you think so? I think it's ugly. But you know what? It's going to get you good gas mileage. It's going to get you from point A to point B. And the good thing about it is that the insurance is going to be cheaper because it's a Prius. A Prius. We're not even talking about like a 2004 to 2024 Prius. I mean, we were looking at a 2015 Prius. He was like, is there something wrong that I like this car? I'm like, not at all, son, not at all. We can definitely get you a Prius and get you from point A to point B. You don't need to go to C. You just need A to B. And I think that's one thing that all kids need to learn. You don't have to be everywhere. A hoopty car is not one of those cars where you want to travel all around the world. That's not what it's for. Here's one of my rules about used cars. When you get a used car, for that first year, you should really go to A to B. Especially when you live somewhere that has all 4 seasons, you want to go A to B. Now, I don't know how it operates in the South, but I know in Michigan, if you driving a car and you got all 4 seasons on your back, you got to see how it works in the wintertime. You got to see how it works in the summertime. You got to see how it works in the springtime with all the rain. So here's the thing. In the wintertime, you got to see if your car heats up the cabin, and if it overheats. That's when your cooler get tested. In the springtime, you looking at water. Do your car have any leaks that may come about? Okay, because water will leak inside the car. This is the best time. With all that water coming down, this is the best time to figure it out. In the summertime, okay? In the summertime, you still run into coolant issues in the summertime because the engine overheats. Now, well, the engine heats up, but then you got the sun beating down on it. So then, if you rupture a hose, because I can tell you, in the summertime, that's where my coolant will go crazy. In the summertime, that's why I had the majority of my problems with my coolant is in the summertime. Then, in the fall, you don't really have that many issues in the fall. So, you can have any issue in the fall because you just come out of summer and you're about to go into winter. So you dealing with fluctuating temperature changes. So you can run into cooling issues. You can run into oil issues. You could run into just about any kind of issue throughout the year because of the fluctuating temperatures. And then you're putting more work on the engine, and you put more work on the car because either you're in stop and go because you're riding around in the city, or you ride around the freeway, so you riding at 70, 75 miles an hour. So you gotta be mindful about that because now you putting your car through its paces. When you put it on the highway, when you put it on when you drive through the neighborhoods, you put it through its paces and everything. So you really want to gauge that vehicle for the first year before you start trying to go from A to Z. Because you start going A to Z out the gate, you're definitely going to run into some issues. I can tell you off top, you're going to run into some issues. Even now, when I think about the car that I have, if I was to give it to somebody else, I would just let them know, hey, this is an A to B car. This is not a car where you go ride, you joyride, you hang with your friends, whoop, whoop, whoop. And that's not what this car is. This is an A to B car. If you need to go to work and home, you need to go to school and home, you need to pick up the kids and home, or you want to drop the kids off, go to work, pick the kids up, go home. That's what that's for. That's what that's for. Okay. Anything beyond that, you're asking for trouble. I'm not even gonna hold you up. Anything beyond that, you're asking for trouble. You know what? I'm not gonna hold you out any longer. I'm MNG. This is Farewell, Mr. Nice Guy. Make sure you go ahead and you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notifications. Check out all our other episodes. I'll see you on the next recording. Peace.